Hi, friend. If I'm honest with you, I actually thought about cutting out these last few chapters of our Exodus study. When I was writing the books, I was like, really? Do we need these last handful of chapters? Can't we just skip ahead to Exodus 40? Oh, friends, I am so glad that they are here. I am learning so much about who God is. Today's passage really, it's the record. That's how it starts off. Exodus 38, verse 21. These are the records of the tabernacle of the testimony, as they were recorded at the commandment of Moses. All right, so this is an official record. It's a document. Can we really learn something about who God is from this? Yes, yes, and yes. And I am so excited by what I've learned about him today. All right, so let's just dig in and let's see. Let's see if you agree. All right, so the what. I just covered the what. And I started with that question because it's just so in your face with verse 21. These are the records of the tabernacle. And we have an official recording of the people that were leading the building of the tabernacle, and also an official record of the gold, silver, and bronze that were used to build the tabernacle itself. So really, this is just an official document, but I'm so glad that it's here. One thing that it showed me was this was orderly. The collection of the goods to make the tabernacle was very, very orderly. It's not like how would I say? It's not like people were just throwing their gold and silver and bronze into a big pile. You know what I mean? No, here is an official record. They took care in this collection. They took care with the contribution that the people were making for the building of the tabernacle. So I think that shows, one, that they did this in an orderly manner, but it also points to God being a God of order. He's not a God of chaos. And here's just a very, very practical example of that. So this first paragraph really speaks to the people who are in charge. For the most part, we have seen all of these names before. Well, we have seen these names before, only we didn't know much about Ithamar, Aaron's son, did we? Now we see that he is responsible. He's the one that was responsible for keeping this record and taking care of the goods. So love that. But we just had a quick review of the people involved. We had Moses, who received the commandment from the Lord to build this tabernacle. We have the Levites, remembering that the Levites are descendants of Levi, and they are the ones that will serve as priests in the temple or in the tabernacle. All right, and it says that the responsibility of the Levites under the direction of Ithamar, the son of Aaron, the priest, all right? They were the ones keeping the records of all of this, the official record. I kind of like that term. Then we have a repeat of Bezalel, who he is, the son of Uri, son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah. So not from the tribe of Levi. This is from another tribe. What does it say? I highlighted made all. Like, I love that. They did it. They fulfilled the command for building the tabernacle as God commanded them to do, or as God had commanded Moses, is how the passage reads there in verse 22. All right, and with him was Aholiab, the son of Ahisamach of the tribe of Dan, yet another tribe. And we learn a little bit more about Aholiab, an engraver and designer and embroiderer in blue and purple and scarlet yarns and fine twined linen. All right, so love that. The cross references, Exodus 6:23. Aaron took as his wife Elisheba, that's kind of a pretty name, the daughter of Aminadab and the sister of Nahshon, and bore him Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. All right, so that's when we first were introduced, or Ithamar, sorry, I can't read my own writing. That's when we were first introduced to Ithamar back in Exodus chapter 6, verse 23. And then Bezalel we saw in 31:2, this was God to Moses, see, I have called by name Bezalel, and the son of Uri, son of Hur, the tribe of Judah. We've talked a lot about him and how God gave him the Spirit of God to empower him to be able to do this good work. And then Aholiab, we were introduced to in Exodus 31:6, where God says to Moses, and behold, I have appointed with him, with Bezalel, Aholiab, the son of Ahisamach of the tribe of Dan, and I have given to all men ability that they may make all that I have commanded for you. And I loved reading that cross-reference again today to see how this work was done, to see how they made all. God said, and I have given to all men ability that they may make all that I have commanded. How was this built? It was done by the Spirit of God and God's gift. God gifted them. He gave all men ability to participate in this good work. Isn't that beautiful? All right, so what do we learn about God? The work of God is done by the means of the Spirit of God. All right, so that's the first paragraph. The second paragraph, we have an official record of the precious metals that were collected for the building of the tabernacle. We have the gold, the silver, and the bronze. And like I mentioned, this wasn't just dumped into a big pile. No, it was collected. It was counted. That's what a record is, to be numbered, to be added up in number or quantity. All right, so this was done in a very orderly manner. All of you numbers people, you can just rejoice at this passage. Yes, God is a God of numbers. He is a God of order. But what do we see here? Let's just make a note. I made a list. All right, the gold. We have 29 talents plus 730 shekels of gold that they collected. Silver, 100 talents and 1,775 shekels. Bronze, 70 talents, 2,400 shekels. All right, now I didn't add this up completely, but 1 talent is approximately 75 pounds. Friends, are you undone by the amount of precious metals that was collected for the purpose of building this tabernacle, building God's dwelling place, his sanctuary? Are you undone by that? Literally, this is tons of precious metals. And I wonder, how are they carrying all of this? That's not a question that we can answer. But I did have more questions about this. Literally, this is tons of precious metals. Where did all of this come from? Was a question I asked that we can answer. It came from the people of Israel. They gave it to this contribution. They gave it. And we were reminded that there also, everyone needed to give a half of shekel who was 20 years old and upward. That was, remember, we had seen that earlier. But everything else was a voluntary contribution, all right, these contributions came from the people of Israel. Now, who are these people of Israel? I just took a minute to think about that. Who are the people of Israel? Friends, they are newly released slaves. They have been serving as slaves for decades. They've lived in Egypt for centuries and have served at least for decades as slaves in Egypt. And they are now just journeying. They are now, in a sense, wandering through the wilderness. Where in the world did they get these kind of riches? Where in the world did they get these kind of riches? All right, we know if we've been on this Exodus journey, we go back to Exodus 12, verse 36. And the Lord had given the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they let them have what they asked. Thus they plundered the Egyptians. Do you remember that? After all of the plagues, the people are anxious to get the Egyptians are anxious for the people of Israel to go now, or we're all going to die. And this is what we learned. The Lord had given the people of Israel favor in the sight of the Egyptians. So they were commanded to go to their neighbors and ask for what they wanted. And thus they plundered the Egyptians. So in reality, friends, who provided the riches to the slaves? Who provided the riches needed for the building of the tabernacle? It's the Lord. It is the Lord who provided. It is the Lord who gave the people favor, the people of Israel favor in the sight of the Egyptians. I mean, are you not undone by that? I am excited by that. Like, see his grace, see his faithfulness and his power. Look at how he provides. Could we have ever in our wildest dreams come up with that idea or imagine that idea? There's no way the people of Israel, look, they were hopeless. They were slaves. They were oppressed. They were sorely afflicted. There's no way they could have ever imagined their freedom from slavery, let alone that they would leave Egypt with this kind of a hole, with all of these riches. Oh, friends, this is how the Lord provides in ways that we could not even begin to think or imagine. That brings me to my application. Stop worrying. Carmen, stop worrying. See how the Lord provides for the people of Israel. He was, he is, and he ever shall be this gracious, this powerful, this faithful God. And the work of God, how is it done, friends? We are learning it is done by the means of the Spirit of God. He will provide. Oh, let us stop worrying. Let us trust. Let us trust. That's exactly what we see the people of Israel doing. They have trusted in the Lord. How do we know? They have surrendered all of these valuables to him. Can you imagine having a slave mindset? I think there might be a tendency to hold on to these valuables, but we learned something about their heart. Their hearts are surrendered to the Lord, and they surrender these valuables gladly, with eagerness to the Lord, that they might build his dwelling place. I love this. I love this. Do you see what we learned from just what appears to be an official document? Friends, this is more than just an official document. This is the Word of God, and we learn more about who he is. Praise him.